Natural Resources Group, Coastal Ecosystem.
Here's our member of the Natural Resources Group, Dhani, Regina, Nabil, Jane, Adinda. Our topic is about recognize the conditions and characteristics of coastal ecosystems. Coastal ecosystems are dynamic ecosystems and has a high and diverse habitat richness and interacts between these habitats. In addition to having great potential, coastal areas are also the most easily affected ecosystems human activities. Further, generally development activities in a manner directly or indirectly, it can adversely affect the ecosystem shore.
Act number 27 of 2007 as amended by Act number 1 of 2014 concerning management of coastal area and small island define coastal areas as transitional areas between the terrestrial and marine ecosystem affected by change in a land and sea. The transitional between the land and sea in coastal areas has formed diverse and highly productive ecosystem and provided tremendous economic value to people. The consequences of this pressure on the coastal is a management problem stemming from use conflict arising from various interests that exist in coastal areas.
As a land and sea transition region that has unique ecosystems, the world has concern for this region, especially an environmental sector in the context of sustainable development. Historically, important cities of the world were located not far from the sea. The reason is that this area has the potential of marine resources and fisheries, as well as facilitating trade between regions, island, and continent. In addition, coastal areas are also areas that inhibit the entry of large waves of sea water into land, which is with the presence of mangrove forests.
There are four important ecosystems in the coastal and marine areas, one of which is the estuary ecosystem, known as a partially enclosed coastal body of brackish water with one or more rivers or streams flowing into it, and with a free connection to open sea. The second one is the mangrove ecosystem, which is the tree and shrubs that live in intertidal zones that are found along tropical and subtropical coastlines. The third one is a seagrass ecosystem, which are among the most productive ecosystems in the world. They serve as important carbon sinks and provide habitat and food for a diversity of marine life comparable to coral reef. The last one is a coral reef ecosystem that are home to thousands of animals and plants, many of which have high economic value.
Coastal areas and their natural resources have strategic significance for Indonesia's economic development because it can be relied upon as one of the pillars of the national economy. Besides the fact that have been put forward by several experts on various occasions as well indicate something similar, these facts include the first is socially, coastal areas are inhabited by no less than 132 million people or 60% of Indonesia's population residing within a radius of 50 km from the coastline. It can be said that this region is the forerunner will be development of Indonesia or urbanization in the future. The second, economically, the output of coastal resources has contributed to the national gross domestic product or GDP of around 30%. In addition, in this region there are also various future resources by paying attention to various potential that are currently not optimally developed, such as energy and pharmaceutical sources. Third is coastal areas in Indonesia have the opportunity to become exporters as well as sea transportation nodes in the Asian Pacific region. This illustrates an opportunity to increase marketing of product of Indonesia fast-growing industrial sector by around 4 until 9%. Furthermore, Coastal areas are also rich in some coastal and marine resources that can be further developed.
The characteristic of coastal areas as a general are also important to know in efforts to protect coastal areas because the biological resources of coastal waters are unit of life that are interconnected and interact with their normal biological environment to form a system, which is often referred to as a regional ecosystem, coastal and sea.
Some of the main ecosystems found in coastal areas have characteristics including contained habitats and ecosystems such as estuaries, coral reefs, seagrass beds, and that provide goods such as fish, minerals, petroleum, and service such as natural protection from storms and tidal waves and recreational areas. To coastal communities, characterized by competition in the utilization of resources and space by various stakeholders, which often cause conflicts and damage to the functional integrity of the resource system. And it usually has a high population density and is the preferred part of urbanizing. It is also the economic backbone of coastal states, where a large part of the gross national product depends on activities such as shipping, oil and gas mining, coastal tourism, and the others.
Considering that coastal areas are rich in natural resources and the most productive ecosystem, coastal areas have an extraordinary attraction for humans to utilizing these natural resources. Human activities in utilizing natural resources tend to be excessive and damage the existing ecosystem so that there is increasingly damaged day by day and decrease the quality of the function of the ecosystems.
Some other reasons related to the nature of these coastal resources are 1. The most depressed areas, 2. The various development activities and development impact, 2. Areas that have received less attention seen from the availability of public facilities and infrastructure, 3. The easiest and most accessible area because geographically it is the easiest and cheapest, 4. Areas that are volatile due to their biophysical properties, 5. High population growth, low quality of populations, and generally a place for crime to develop. 6. Coastal resources are often open access, at least de facto.
So, besides being caused by the impact of the development in the coastal area itself, it is also caused by the impact of development or externalities of activities in land areas that are directly related to coastal areas. For this reason, early efforts are needed to protect coastal areas from the threat of damage or degradation of resource quality nature due to excessive and irresponsible utilization activities. So that on the one hand, the utilization carried out can be optimal, and on the other hand, natural resources and ecosystems are maintained sustainability.